Hello and welcome to Bottom Line. Well, it has been another day of brisk developments in the Dibrugarh University hostel ragging case, with the varsity authorities expelling as many as 4 students and forming a committee to probe any possible lapses in dealing with ragging in university campus. The university has also decided to set up a counseling cell for students. Now, this incident of ragging has shocked Assam. This incident has got parents worried about the safety and security of their wards in hostels. This incident has once again raised questions as to why our premier institutes, and most of the institutes, if I may say, have failed to control ragging. To discuss the issue, I am being joined by Professor Mrinmay Sharma, Dean Academics, Tezpur University. Dr. Rajiv Handik, Professor Guwahati University, is also joining me. I also have with me Dr. Indrani Sengupta, Assistant Professor, MDK Girls College, Dibrugarh. Psychiatrist Dr. Sangeeta Datta is also with me in the studios in Guwahati, and Prachurya Sharma, Assistant General Secretary, Tezpur University Students' Council, will also be joining me shortly. A very warm welcome to all of you. If I can go to Dr. Rajiv Handik first. Well, so we have been discussing this issue for the last 3 days and there have been brisk developments. But again, the question that we need to ask, despite all the actions being taken, is that could, and this question has been asked multiple times in the last 48 hours or so, could this tragedy, could this incident have been avoided with timely action, despite whatever the university authorities may say now?
You see, this is very unfortunate, and but the point is, this was waiting to happen because the developments in the hostels of all public universities in Assam, I should say, I'm not talking of the central ones, the state-funded public institutions like Dibrugarh, Guwahati. We come to know of many such incidents from time to time, but the institutional mechanism that is there actually finally ends up, without any, there are some actions at some point of time, but then most of them go scot-free. This is also unfortunate because all the students at the time of admission, they do sign an affidavit, anti-ragging affidavit it's called. So they sign it. There are a lot of laws which are there. The anti-ragging rules are actually displayed in the campus very vividly. The anti-ragging helpline number is there everywhere. These are things which all institutions do. But in spite of this, it seems that there are some who do not, they do not actually give any cognizance. They don't take any cognizance of this, and they don't actually give, in a way, they give a damn to this, to the laws, to the rules which are there. And then they go on, doing what they have been doing. And there is also politics involved, student politics in some way. So all of these, it makes a very heady mix. But unfortunately, what is happening is the public institutions are suffering, and it is I would say, the ones who face financial constraint, they are the ones actually who avail of these facilities, the government facilities, the public money that goes into, that funds these hostels. They are being actually, used for the very wrong purpose. And if this thing continues, it will be very difficult for the poorer section, students from the poorer section of society, to go for higher education in these public institutions. So this is the, the bottom line, as you have, your program says, the bottom line is that if it doesn't stop, the future of the public institutions, they are at stake.
These are strong words there. Dr. Indrani Sengupta, do you agree that all measures on anti-ragging are still on papers? Students are made to sign, as Dr. Handik just mentioned, students are made to sign a lot of papers during admission, but it is restricted to that. There's hardly any action on ground or possibly any efforts undertaken to ensure that ragging doesn't take place.
Can you just repeat the question? The words are vibrating, it's echoing. Can you just go slow so that I can get you properly?
Yeah. What I'm saying is that are all the anti-ragging measures taken by institutes only on papers? Is any action being taken on ground or any efforts being taken on ground from day one, from the day a student enters the university hostel or campus to ensure that such incidents don't take place, do not take place, or is it a mere formality that the institutes have to undergo?
You see, we have just come across the incident, but right now to comment anything is difficult. But definitely the university authorities, they have started taking measures, and therefore I think it needs time. Proper investigation is going on. So step by step, as days pass, I think the university authorities will come up with proper measures, proper understanding about the incident, and definitely they will take some strong steps to avoid any such situation in the future.
Absolutely. Professor Mrinmoy Sharma, well, we have seen what has happened in the last 2 days. There was also a lot of confusion, if we can say, on the part of the authorities when statements were being given on the possible action being taken. Of course, afterwards, as things spiraled out, as there was widespread outrage over the incident, of course, finally today we see stern action being taken, 4 students being expelled, a probe committee being formed. But initially, do you think even in this case, the approach was lenient, a bit lenient?
Actually, I would not term it as lenient. Actually, what happens that every university or every educational institutions will have certain laid down procedures and rules. So I'm sure the Dibrugarh University Authority also followed this procedure as soon as they got the complaints. There's a different matter that the letter that was made available in the social media. I also gone through that letter, handwritten letter by the students concerned a few days back. Maybe that's a different matter whether they actually that letter fell into the right person. Sometimes it might so happen that this kind of information actually does not percolate to the authority who can initiate action. But whatever is the reason, as soon as this whole matter came to light, I am sure the university authority took action according to the procedures. I am also sure that they know the provisions of the Prevention of Ragging Act 1999, that is in the state of Assam, is prevalent at this moment. So accordingly, I am sure the university authority is taking action. An FIR is to be lodged against the student by the authority. At this moment, I do not have any information. You might be knowing better than me who had filed the FIR, and as soon as the FIR is lodged, the police action will start. And also, there is a provision in the Act that students, the accused must be heard, and I am sure the university authority is doing, I think, certain things about these. But nevertheless, the entire episode of ragging, anywhere in any form, whether it's physical ragging, psychological ragging, because University Grants Commission has very well defined what constitute to be a ragging. It may not be physical assault, it may be just certain things are being told to the students just to undermine his ego. That can also be considered to be ragging. So, your first question to Professor Hendik was very pertinent, whether actually corrective action could have been taken beforehand. Actually, it is always better, as you all know, it is always better prevention.
Absolutely,
than
prevention
cure.
is always better.
Once something happens, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Before I
So
come to Dr.
once certain
Sangeeta
things, this kind of
Datta,
unfortunate thing happens, yes.
yeah, before I come to Dr. Sangeeta Datta, once again, Dr. Rajiv Handik, well, even in this case, as we know, a complaint was lodged back on November 17th. The warden of the hostel, the chief warden spoke to Northeast Live yesterday. They are saying the moment a complaint was lodged, a meeting of the anti-ragging committee was held on November 18th. A follow-up meeting was held again on November 21st. Actions were recommended to the higher authorities. But again, does this once again signify that we are still, the authorities were still, probably the warden or he has raised the issues, there was a meeting of the anti-ragging committee, but probably they failed to gauge the gravity of the situation. It's been 10 days since the complaint was lodged, and then this happened. So basically, if corrective action was taken, within a couple of days, at least a hint that an action may be coming, probably this could have been prevented. So does this again signify that authorities, university authorities, institute authorities are actually taking ragging lightly?
No, I don't think university authority takes it lightly, but what has happened is, in many of these cases, it does take time for the procedures to get completed. And within that period, what happens is that in many cases, the ones who have been the victims, sometimes they change their mind, they change their statements, and then, or there are forces that, in a way pressurizes them, or in a way there is a change of mind. And everybody comes out and says that it didn't happen that way, and that everything is now in a way compromise has been met, and so things shouldn't go further. And there is also the question of prestige of hostel, and everyone unites behind that. So this has been the situation. And as I said at the very beginning, these are things that were waiting to happen because you have a lot of illegal boarders in hostels staying, overstaying in a way. So I don't know how to, but that's the unfortunate truth. As this thing has happened, so it's time that we all take cognizance of it and come out with, some appropriate measure. To my mind, sometimes I feel that though I am very, I don't want students to suffer, but it seems that these type of acts, extreme violence, as Professor Sharma has also said, the anti-ragging, even asking a question can also be considered as ragging. So, these are very stringent. And violence in this form, it is a very extreme form of ragging. And these are criminal acts. So part of those ragging should be actually considered as criminal acts, and there should be no, it should not go to the anti-ragging committee. Rather, there should be immediate FIR should be lodged, and things should be handed over to the police. Yes. So all violent ragging should be dealt with the police, not by the university authorities. I think that is the only way out now if this happens, if it continues, because our future is involved in this. And of course, there is also need for counseling. I think Dibrugarh University has done the right thing in having a counseling committee. There is a need of a lot of counseling because students come from different backgrounds, and they stay there without counseling, and there is a culture shock for some of them. And that student who actually did, jumped from the floor, he and others didn't. Others, so there is a difference in the psychology of different students. So there is a lot of things that also needs to be done, and I'm very much for counseling, and because this is also a psychosocial, situation where the entire university has to, in solidarity, come out against this form of ragging.
Absolutely. Dr. Sangeeta Datta, do you think because ragging is perhaps already in the ecosystem when we talk about our hostels, and it's accepted, and that's why it continues year after year, batch after batch. The first year comes, they get ragged, they go to second year, they in turn rag the freshers again, and this is an accepted norm and is considered very normal, and that's why there is no end to it. And at times things do get serious, just like the case at hand. Things do get out of control. Then there's a knee-jerk reaction, but then we are not addressing the base of the problem.
Well, I wouldn't consider it to be a norm at all, because I myself grew up in the university campus, Guwahati University campus, where my mother happened to be the warden of a hostel, girls' hostel, for 14 long years. And there I had seen ragging. Now, how ragging was, actually what kind of ragging happened was, those were introductory sessions, the people used to get, the seniors used to get introduced to the juniors, and that was a very informal way, and it was a fun-filled way as to how they would get introduced, and that was also a very informal platform for freshers to show their talents and their extracurricular activities, like, somebody was good in singing, somebody was good in dance, somebody was in mimicry, etc. So that way, the seniors used to get introduced to the person and also the and the other talents related to a particular fresher. That was how I saw ragging when I was a child.
Welcome meet.
Yes, and they used to call that ragging. Now, with the passage of time, how we see ragging, and these kind of course, this has been an extreme incident, but ragging, basically how it is defined by UGC or even in psychology, is something, it amounts to emotional abuse, it can be verbal also, like it has been mentioned, sexual abuse, physical abuse, etc., or anything that demeans the victim, that demeans the other person, so the other person here is vulnerable and weak, and the person who's the perpetrator, who does it on the other person, second person, is considered to be powerful and strong in that particular situation. Now, what happens exactly is, why people rag at all, the way ragging is these days and how we are discussing. It has been seen that if you look at the personality traits of people who indulge in such kind of activities, be it verbal abuse, be it physical abuse, be it sexual abuse, be it violence, you get to see a very common characteristics in these people. These people, the perpetrators, they are not visible in areas like academics, usually academics or extracurricular activities. They are not even popular. Somewhere they are very frustrated people with sadistic mindsets. Sadistic mindsets in terms of they derive pleasure by torturing or causing suffering to a weaker person. This weaker person could be weak in terms of his freshness because he's a new entrant, or it could be in terms of race, religion, language, or gender, whatever it may be. Now, this person derives sadistic pleasure. There is a myth that such kind of people have a superiority complex, and that's why they try to show themselves to be very powerful and dominant. That is not true. In fact, they suffer from inferiority complex because they're not being able to perform well in other areas of life, which their contemporaries are already doing. That's why, out of frustration and to cover their hurt egos, they actually try torturing the weaker sections of the society. This is the basic psychology behind ragging. Now, there is another notion about why people actually rag these ways. That is, they have been ragged at certain points in their life, and now they're inflicting the same kind of pain to someone else. Well, that can be an excuse, according to me, even as a psychiatrist, because I have come across a lot of people who have been ragged in life and who have promised never ever to cause such kind of pain and suffering to someone else that they had experienced. So saying that since I had experienced pain, I'm going to cause the same pain to someone else is again a marker of sadistic traits in the personality of that person. Now, this person who's ragging a junior in the college or in a university will not go and cause violence usually in the open society or in his family, because there he anticipates reaction or consequences which he or she may not be able to handle.
So that's what usually I'm trying to say, the ecosystem where he does not expect a
here
reaction.
The other person
probably.
is very weak, does not have a support
what
system,
emboldens them?
and he can manage to escape the consequences.
What emboldens students to go for ragging? Do we have Prachurya Sharma yet? Okay, Prachurya Sharma will join us in a short while. Professor Mrinmay Sharma, again, the same thing. What emboldens the students to take these steps? That is the question. Definitely there's an ecosystem. Definitely they feel encouraged. Definitely they feel that no action will be taken, or there will be leniency involved. They will get away with it. That is the general feeling. Ex-boarders, former students coming and staying in the hostel is an accepted norm, and that's why we are facing all these problems.
Yeah. you were right. It's a kind of a sane reaction. So as it was mentioned, the first year students get ragged when they come in. Then they ragged when they become senior. The newcomers were ragged. In fact, I can tell from my personal experience. I was also a victim of ragging in Cotton College. I do not name the hostel at this moment. But next year, when I become senior, it was long back, 1984. When I become senior, I got the help and cooperation from all my batchmates, and we stopped ragging in the hostel altogether.
It's a great initiative.
So the students themselves, yes, the students themselves can take the action. Second example I can give you, in 2007 or 2008, in our university, Tezpur University, when I was the Dean of Students' Welfare, we decided to expel one student because of ragging. And what happened afterwards? Afterwards, so many years, we do not get any complaint of ragging. I'm not 100% sure that ragging is not there in our university also. But then we're pretty sure that one expulsion, worked as a they broke the ecosystem, as you mentioned, broke the ecosystem, and then it was the next batch and next batch and next batch. It didn't happen. But one point, because during COVID, the students were not exposed to ragging. The senior student of this moment in Dibrugarh University, for example. So now why they have indulged in ragging? Because they have learned it somewhere. Maybe in the college they have learned it, and they are doing it. So it's not that one time or two time efforts will work. It should be continuous sustenance effort. There should be effort from the university side, the authorities side. There should be effort from the students' unions. There should be effort from the prefects and monitors. And also, of course, the warden will have to play a very important role. The anti-ragging squad is there, anti-ragging committee is there, but they will have to make visits at odd hours at different points of time, so that students they get a fair, they become those people who are indulged in ragging. They are afraid of these visits, and one or two students get caught and they should be expelled without any leniency. So that is why the authorities should come forward in every educational institute. All principals, all vice chancellors, all deans should come forward and make sure that this is never ever going to happen in our state or in any state in our country. This is really, really inhuman. Because I can tell you this, because I suffered from ragging. Do not ask me what it was in detail, but yes, I know how the students feel when they are ragged.
Absolutely, it's a humiliation. Yes.
I would just like to add to what Professor Sharma has said. In fact, I myself was a victim of ragging in Guwahati Medical College way back in 1994. So when I joined, and of course, I was ragged by not only by boys, even by girls. But again, the next year when we had freshers, I never repeated it, nor did my friends repeat it, because we had gone through a lot because of the emotional abuse that we had to go through, and we made it sure that we are not going to continue with that culture, and neither are we going to allow anyone else. That's one thing. The other important point that is to be noted is not everybody rags. What makes them so bold so as to break laws is because some people have those personality traits. So given a chance, they take all the risks and indulge in such activities, and they think that they will go scot-free. Because very often people do go scot-free.
Yes,
and these kind of violence does not happen in the beginning mostly. What could have happened in this incident is that ragging was happening in graded fashion. Initially it starts at a more subtle level, then it grows and grows and grows. Ultimately violence sets in. Initially there is emotional abuse, then it goes to physical abuse, and perhaps even involves sexual abuse. It is a graded kind of an exposure. It doesn't happen overnight. So as it was growing, finally the intensity of the violence was so strong, violence both physical, mental, psychological, everything. So it was so strong that this ultimately this disaster happened. So what needs to be done is, sometimes we may not be able to prevent it, but sometimes it is very necessary to recognize the early signs of danger coming. danger lurking. And that is also very important, so that when a complaint is made, that this is now subtle, this is now at a very early stage, but it could grow. And somehow, sometimes when these people who are indulging in ragging, they're doing it in graded fashion and they are doing it successfully. The other person is giving in, submitting, and domination is getting more and more successful. Then they also gain confidence and they think that, okay, I'm successful till now, I'll be successful in the future too. They're completely aware of the prevailing rules and regulations and the existing laws, but they somehow have this belief that I will go scot-free.
Absolutely, a very valid point there. Ragging happens in a phased manner. Dr. Rajiv Handik, in this case, Dibrugarh University hostel ragging case also, we have heard the wardens even saying that there is a lack of security as far as the hostels are concerned, not enough security available, not always possible to prevent ex-boarders from entering. They also maintain that they have been constantly in touch with the students, even the victim in this case, and they have been giving moral support, but they also have their limitations as far as manpower is concerned. It is not about policing. It cannot be about policing because it's not practically possible. Probably the point that we are missing here is that reaction to a complaint. All we need to do is react on time. If that is done, you do not need to go to the hostel rooms probably 10 times a day. Nobody expects that from a warden either. That is not physically possible probably. But it's the reaction that is required. Reaction has to be prompt. There cannot be any delay in reaction. That is where probably we are missing out.
Yeah, but can I just actually add to what was already said about, because I was also a victim in a way. but
we all are in the same boat.
Yeah, we are in the same
Yes.
boat. But let me tell you one thing. There is a very important difference actually. I was also, in a way, it seems that, Professor Minnoy Sharma and me, we are contemporary almost. But, that ragging or whatever, that introductory thing that happens, it ends with the fresher social. It doesn't go beyond fresher social. Once the fresher socials are held, then there is a lot of camaraderie, there is a lot of friendship that happens. But now it is a continuous, reign of this, the ragging, I should say, the period of ragging, it is being extended to the entire year. So I think it's a constant, you can say, torture all throughout. So these are the differences that are happening. So ragging has changed over time. And unfortunately, it is becoming more violent. It is becoming more, inhuman in many ways. And education, of course, it's not an island. And students, and they are also, exposed to a lot of violence through videos, through things. And maybe all these are playing havoc in their minds. So going back to what you have asked, actually, I would agree with, again, the panel that, a lot of thing has to be done by the authorities. And I don't blame the wardens because I think whatever they have done and whatever they have said, it's true. You cannot have a security apparatus, but it may be there, but it'll involve a lot of money, a lot of investment to have a 24/7 security in the hostels. But there are other ways like segregation. It can be thought of. All the first years in one hostel, it can be thought of.
Absolutely, we'll come to that. I have to go for
these are the things that can be, yeah.
I have to go for a short break here, but before that, I'll take a quick reaction from Prachurya Sharma, Assistant General Secretary, Tejpur University Students Union. Prachurya joining us from TU. Prachurya Sharma, we all know what happened in Dibrugarh University. Why do you think this happens? Is there a culture of ragging? You are among the students. Do you think there's a culture of ragging in our institutes?
First of all, thank you for giving me the chance to push forward my views.
Welcome.
From the perspective of a student, the first thing I want to say that ragging should be stopped no matter which university it is. It should be stopped in every university of Assam, Northeast, and of India. And ragging is to be honest, ragging is a socially set structure. Right from the past years, when we were small, we were hearing that ragging is done in colleges, ragging is done in universities. Even when I started my college life, my mom was worried about that whether if in case I come across such problem. But the problem of ragging cannot be solved only by a particular student. In order to overcome this problem, every student of every college, every university should come forward and should cooperate each other so that they can find a solution to the problem of ragging.
Absolutely. We'll just take a short break here. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're watching Bottom Line. Well, we were discussing ways and means to what steps can be taken to prevent ragging. Dr. Rajiv Handy was making some points. I'll take the reaction first from Professor Mrinmoy Sharma. SOPs, some strict SOPs can be in place, as Dr. Rajiv Handy was mentioning. Probably separate hostels for the different semesters, different years, different batches. That is one. Another thing that we could probably do is that all the complaints, all the anti-ragging complaints probably should be online. The university can have a facility, a portal, a website where the complaints can be registered online, where it is accessible and in public domain. So it shouldn't be a handwritten complaint as we saw in this case. Anybody can hush up or hide the matter in these cases. Can such steps be taken? We need concrete steps, concrete SOPs to ensure, for instance, strict SOPs that ex-boarders cannot enter hostels, that freshers cannot be called to a different hostel or room of a senior in the hostels, barred freshers, barred from going to a room, or seniors barred from going to the room of the juniors. Things like this, which again have to be strictly implemented. Do you think that's practically possible, Dr. Mrinmoy Sharma? I'll also take a reaction on from Dr. Handik on this.
It's me?
Yes. Yes, Professor Sharma.
So,
yeah.
Every complaint of any form of ragging should be immediately acted upon. That is number one. Number two, yes, it was rightly said that there should be online portal for complaint as far as ragging is concerned, because students are afraid. They would like to give anonymous complaint. Now UGC has got a 24/7 helpline. There they can call the helpline as well as they can lodge complaint online also. As soon as the complaint is lodged, even at night, midnight or even early morning, there is a call to the respective, it may be the Vice Chancellor, it may be the Dean of Students Welfare, from the UGC office, that this is happening, please act. So universities can also have a online complaint portal. In fact, each university, I am sure, has got a grievance portal. This grievance portal can also be used for, lodging complaints of ragging. But only problem is that students are not aware about these mechanisms.
Absolutely.
So every institute must make sure that students understands that where these things are available and how easily they can access. Apart from that, UGC mandates that the names and phone numbers of the key functionaries of the university, all members of the anti-ragging squad, anti-ragging committee should be made available in public domain, so that a student, a victim, can ring up anybody at any point of time. So these mechanisms are already there. Only problem is that students should come forward and lodge the complaint, and the authorities concerned should immediately act upon it.
Dr. Indrani Sengupta, do you think awareness is also a problem? Yeah. Yes, Dr. Sharma. Yes, Dr. Sharma, complete.
So I
Yes.
would like to add another point
I can-
that
can you-
UGC, as per recommendation of the Raghavan committee, they have said that there should be ice breaking session, as it was mentioned by one of the panelists, that yes, the the old students and the new students, there is a ice in between them, and therefore because new students are coming from their from a different environment, maybe most of the time they are coming from home, they are leaving their parents, they are leaving their siblings, their normal environment, so they're they're afraid, they're otherwise homesick. The new students should come and embrace them. Only that camaraderie would be there, hostel sentiment would be there, university sentiment, college sentiment would be created or generated, and this, you call it Vaisara, would be there among them. So they have devised a program called ice breaking session. So in our university, we go for this kind of sessions. Many hostels have generated these ice-breaking sessions, conducted this ice-breaking session. But then this session can be juniors and seniors, both of them would be there. There would be, there would be games, there would be cultural programs, there would be recitations, singing,
Yes, these are
dancing,
there,
etc.
but we do need
in presence of a
continuous.
member of the anti-ragging squad.
Absolutely, but we do need continuous, continuous
But then in
efforts.
presence of a teacher.
Absolutely. But we do need continuous efforts. Dr.
Yeah,
Sengupta,
yeah,
do you think,
yeah.
Dr. Sengupta, do you think awareness is also an issue here? Probably ragging victims do not know where to go. The only thing they can think of is probably complaining to the warden. Do you think awareness is an issue when it comes to ragging?
Yes, definitely. You see, I have been hearing all discussions for a long time, although little bit disturbance is there, a bit of echoing and all. But still, I think that we can take some other steps also besides all that has been said so far. Counseling is very essential to create proper awareness. Counseling, as one of our madam has said few minutes back, that the early signs should be detected. Where is the frustration of the individual? Where is the conflict of the individual? Those kind of issues must be dealt properly, and counseling both at the individual or at the group level must be initiated. In this manner, we can at least help our students, help our individuals to release their anxiety, frustration, conflicts, etc. And besides this, I feel to keep them cool and calm as they are away from home, there is an environment change for them. So they must be introduced to yoga, then meditation, value education, so that at least even if they have some sort of aggressiveness, feeling of aggressiveness, or some sort of lack of understanding,
Yeah,
this
but-
can cool down. This can cool down.
Yeah.
And because many laws will be made, many
Yeah, that's the
changes,
question. Laws
many
will be
reforms
made.
will
Is
be
the
undertaken.
implementation
But
part
the
that is
main
difficult?
issue is,
I'll just take a quick reaction from Dr.
different
Rajiv
steps
Handik
will be
here.
taken. But
Dr. Rajiv Handik.
I'll just end up my view.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
give me 1 sec, please.
Okay.
Just give me 1 sec. We should take care of the mental health of our students. That is my point.
Yeah, before I come to Dr. Sangeeta
I need to
Datta on
make a
this,
point, yeah.
Professor Handik, we all talk about counseling and being in constant touch with the students. Is it even practically possible, or for the time being, yes, long-term solution is counseling and building an ecosystem, but for short terms, do you think we need stern, strict SOPs to take care of things and make it a habit? SOPs are a must, SOPs that can be implemented practically. Counseling is fine, but we as a nation, we as institutes always have manpower shortage. Let's also face that. Will it be practically possible to regularly counsel each and everyone? That is also a big question that we have to ask.
No, I agree with what Indrani had said in terms of yoga or, to look after the mental health. But as you said again, to put it in place won't be very easy. But I think that is a way out. That can be a way out. But the problem is the ragging that is being perpetrated in the violent form is done by a very small group of students, maybe 1% of the students. And it is the silent 99% who will have to come out. And they should speak. and they should actually be the ones who will have to overthrow this tyranny that they have been, always living under. So if this is not done, however rules or SOPs are in place, I think things will not improve. That is why I am speaking of something very deterrent, like any violent act of ragging should be looked after by the police, by the criminal investigation department, and not by the by the
Yes, sir.
university system, because because if somebody commits violence, the type of acts that we saw in Dibrugarh University, for example, these are criminal acts. These are nothing but criminal acts, and so criminal acts should be
Yes, sir.
dealt with in that same line.
Yes, I.
So I think that is something, and that deterrent must be there. That must be put in place, and the 99% must wake up, must actually
sir.
come out against the 1%. Otherwise, things are not going to change, and wardens will have to, and the entire stakeholders of the institution must all get together actually, because this is a wake-up call. I would say this is a wake-up call, and we have to take it as a I would say, to take it forward actually, to take it as a pretext, so to say, to action, to clean up the system.
Absolutely.
Otherwise we are in
Sir,
for big
I'm
trouble.
actually, yes, sir, I'm just sorry to.
Yeah. Yes, Dr. Sengupta. Go
So
ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt in between. I just want to say that we should take care of the internal environment of the hostel. The students must be kept cool. Their mental conditions must be understood. Even the senior students, they can be involved to take care of the junior students. Counseling is not that always that the experts will be coming there. Always the professionals will be coming there. At least the senior students who have a bit of experience, who have a bit of knowledge, they can counsel their younger ones. In this way, a bonding can be created. If we can make the environment of the hostel more loving, more rich, then I think we can reduce this kind of revengeful attitude or some kind of torturous attitude, unacceptable situations that are taking place in the name of ragging. That can be reduced, I feel.
Can I just come in?
Yeah.
In fact, mental health has been talked about, and that is very, very important. What I wanted to talk about actually, is about the victim. So it has been seen that a lot of people go through or are victimized during the process of ragging, but not everybody develops depression, not everybody develops anxiety, not everybody goes ahead to commit suicide. So there are certain characteristics in a victim also which makes the victim more vulnerable to experience all these kinds of mental distress. Now, therefore, when we need to have a counselor, and according to me, we need to have a proper mental health professional. A counselor means somebody who has a master degree in psychology, and preferably somebody who has a MPhil degree in clinical psychology. Now, why do we need? Because we had this demand, from Indian Psychiatric Association long time back, that we need a counselor for every educational institution. Why? Because to teach them life skills, to teach them soft skills, to teach children, to teach students coping strategies. Because if there is a term called resilience in psychology, if we make every student resilient, now no matter what comes their way, they will be able to handle that emotionally and psychologically, and will be able to devise a plan, or will have proper problem solving methods in place to be able to actually solve their problem, instead of going into depression, anxiety, or doing something which can finish their lives and their careers forever. So we need to strengthen every student in terms of mental health. Of course, having healthy lifestyle practices like meditation, yoga will go a long way in empowering them, empowering the students. Now, so far, whether these practices, counseling, etc., will help the small fraction of students who indulge in violence during ragging, that is still a debatable issue, because these children who indulge in very violent acts during ragging, these students, they themselves have traits of psychopathy, and they themselves have traits of antisocial personality disorder. They have had history of conduct problems even in schools, so maybe that was ignored by parents, that was ignored by teachers, or that was addressed partially actually, so etc., etc. Somebody who lives a very normal life and has a very normal psychology, if I may call it normal, will not indulge in extreme violence no matter what. Of course, in general, if we have a counselor to attend to the emotional needs, to the inner needs of every student, no matter whether the student is junior or senior, the counselor will be able to actually understand what is going on and what could be anticipated. And that way the counselor could also work in, together with the authorities of the university or the college to prevent such disasters in the future.
A very pertinent question which has also been raised here, and I would like to put this to Prachurja Sharma. Prachurja, do you think the majority is silent when somebody indulges in ragging? When the senior students indulge in ragging, do you think the majority of the senior students are overlooking it, are silent, they don't want to get involved in this, neither do they protest? Do you think that is one of the main reasons why this has continued?
The first thing is that only some particular section of students are involved in such cases of ragging. And because of those particular section of students, the name of the entire university or entire college comes under question. I want to say that the entire university council, students union should be active. And here I want to cite the name of Tezpur University. I can say proudly that Dibrugarh University sets the best example so far as ragging is control of ragging is concerned. I can say that there is no such sort of ragging in this university, and the reason behind this is that anti-ragging cell is very much active. There is proper coordination between the seniors and the juniors, as well as between the university administration as well as the students. Even sometimes it happens that senior officials from the university administration, whenever they meet the new students, they used to ask, are you coming across any problem in your university? How is your university life going on? Such things are always done in the Tezpur University. And I feel if Tezpur University has been successful in controlling ragging, why not the other universities? So I feel that every university's student, every student council, every student union, and every university administration of the each and every university of Assam should come forward and
absolutely. If there is coordination, if there is coordination, Dr. Rajiv Handik, if there is coordination between the authorities, then even the current measures are enough to prevent ragging. That's what the youngster is saying here.
And even before the authorities come in, even before the police comes in, like it has been mentioned time and again, it's a minority of people who indulge in this kind of ragging, who dominate, who control, who terrorize. So why is it not that if that minority is 5% or 1%, if the remaining raise their voice, if the remaining stop being silent, then this minority will be terrorized, and it will not be the other way around.
Yes, Dr. Sengupta, you want to make a point quickly?
There in an institution, and it's difficult to attend to so many students in different hostels. But I think on and off, in between, sometimes a counselor can make sessions, can take some sessions, conduct some sessions where he or she can explain or narrate some symptoms of sadistic behavior, or any other topic. But through which the students, if they listen to, they may make some realization, or they may make some feeling or changes within them without expressing, but they will realize
no doubt about
what are these symptoms. Is it going on in their behavior or not?
And madam, in group counseling session, what needs to be emphasized on is not just enhancing life skills and coping strategies. It is about enhancing emotional quotient, EQs of student, and spiritual quotients of student, which is the job of a counselor in any educational institution.
Sensitization.
Yes.
I'm completely running out of time. Dr. Rajiv Handik, last final comments from you. Coordination between the authorities, need of the hour.
We need to have a good mix of everything between the ideal and the real. We need to strike a balance and not treat this incident as a one-off incident, and not have the firefighting approach. We should have a concerted approach which will change the system. And I again reiterate on the accountability part, because lot of government money, lot of public money has been spent on these institutions. They are getting the hostels, they are getting cooks, they are getting, water, electricity, everything, good facilities, and their job is to study and shine in life and become good citizens. It is not, if we cannot allow them to misuse this, and we cannot allow the system also to be a mute spectator to this.
Absolutely. Let's say no to ragging strictly. Let's say no to ragging. We cannot afford to see another Anand Sharma suffering in an ICU of a hospital. On that note, it's a wrap of Bottom Line tonight.